Okay, so here we go. This is just a quick comment, and it brings. I've mentioned most of this stuff before, but it just brings it all together a little bit. So, juris comes from jus, comes from eos, which means to bind. Bind means contract, jointer, jointer, and jointer, and comply and fuse. As ply means to bind, and refuse, fuse means to bind. Jure means to bind, and contract makes the law. It's a common law maxim. Jure translates to law, and therefore law means to bind. Inclusio, exclusio maxim. So de jure means of law, and jure comes from juris, means to bind. So law means to bind. So therefore law means contract, because common law makes contract makes the law. So law, as they use it, is contract, and federal lex mercatoria is federal law merchant, translated into English. So jure means contract, de jure means of contracts. By, B-U-I, B-I, B-Y, B-I-S-I-N-E-S-S, and B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S. Business means by sins. By sins, QSIPs traded are called sins, C-I-N-S, it's a homophone. And it's QSIP identification numbering system. S and F are interchangeable, so Old Testament, 1611, it's Old Testament, modern English. It's pronounced Old Testament in 1611, but I'm just saying it as if how it's written. Bind means ply, fuse, and jointer, and contract. Contract's an oxymoron because it's got con in front of it. Ter means earth, and earth is land, and land is a ship, and flies a flag. That's why countries have flags, because they're vessels, they're corporations. Look up US code 28 USC code 009-2003 or code 9. Or just type in 28 USC vessel of the United States. It'll tell you vessel of the United States is a corporation, person, trade, territory, state, or any possession thereof. So it's a vehicle, it's person, it's a whole lot. Country flies a flag, so and ships fly flags, so there it's maritime. Ships, land, cargo, planes, land is action. You don't go to land, there is no hallowed land, you go to ground, and there's only hallowed ground. Ship speed is measured over ground and not land. Friendship, relationship, man is given dominion over the earth. Dominion comes from dominus, meaning lord, and master. Mast is L is shepherd, and ORD is ordained. So the shepherd ordained. Mast is ter. Mast is a ship's pole and flies a flag. And the ship is called earth in English and ter in Latin. So I've already explained at least 10 meaning names for what they call earth, the ship, because it's all maritime. Every country flies a flag, right? The merchants took over, effectively. Leg is a journey on the water. Al means, in Hebrew, means Lord. So English is Latin, and anyone will tell you, if you study medicine, it's Greek and Latin and English, and it's all traces of Hebrew, because Latin goes back, Hebrew goes back before. It's the same alphabet. It's the same civitas, same state. Legal tender, lords. So legal tender, leg is a journey, al is lord, and tender is a boat. So legal tender is lord's journey. Tender is a small boat used to load a ship, used to transport currency or cargo. What is your legacy? Leg RC, your journey for the Alpha C. What have you read so far? What do you see? SEE, SEA, CEE, ICE, POLICY, POLICE. Policy and police are homophones. POLIC is policy. Police is policy. It's a homophone. They just didn't teach you how to pronounce the word. All right. Jurisdiction comes from conquering lands. Corporation kill. The Jews, aka kings and queens, corporations, they're all money lenders. They'll put their face on the money. Aka sole corporation, corporation aggregate, which is the former, of which the former is a sovereign known as king. 1611. So a corporation sole, corporation aggregate is a king, and a king is a corporation in English law. Go and read Leviathan or the Manifold Power. You can find it on YouTube. You don't have to buy it. Or go to the Captain Slappy on YouTube, and the first clip that plays, that's the one. Just expand it out, and just pause it and read it, and screenshot all the dictionaries that they've got in there. Corporation kill. Sovereign. So when the police say you're a sovereign citizen, a citizen is a civilly dead person, which is a debtor, which is a cestui trust. That's written in US code. So a taxpayer is a citizen, is a civilly dead entity. And that's in US code. I'm going to do a clip on that later. I'll keep saying I'm going to do it, but it's going to be a hard clip. When the police say you're a sovereign citizen, so a sovereign is a corporation sole or corporation aggregate, and a citizen is an incorporated corporation that's registered to a corporation sole. So basically, he's calling you a person. There's no other way to put it. Sovereign is a corporation and it's maritime, and citizen is a person is maritime again. Citizen is short for is derived from the word civitas, but it means sea mark zen. So mind control is illegal. So why do they call themselves government? Because govern means to control, and ment is the mind. Right? Govern is also has roots itself, and it's go and ver and n. So go means to move, ver means to change, and n is the part of the brain, the fight or flight part of the brain. That's how they work. Right? This is using the Kemetic alphabet. This isn't me going, I just put his own meanings to the words. This is the meaning of the word, the Kemetic alphabet. It's A for apple, B is for babble, and C is for, I won't say the C word, but it's all garbage. It's literally just vomit. So basically, the government creates the problems. If you read this book, it actually explains that the state, so Commonwealth, Leviathan is the beast that comes out of the sea. So that's what it actually says in Hebrew. The Leviathan is the beast that comes out of the sea. And when you get the original of this book, it actually has the Leviathan printed, which it doesn't have on this one, but it actually has a monster coming out of the sea in the shape of a man, a giant man, and he's basically, the man's made out of lots of little men. And so the Leviathan, the beast out of the ocean, is them. And so, and a Leviathan is defined as a commonwealth, as a state, as a civitas. Right? So the state, the state is a civitas. The state is a commonwealth. Is a civitas. Is a Leviathan. It's a cult. That's all it is. And I call them corporation kill. America's never been invaded, but they've been in 222 wars in the 234 odd years they've been around. They've never been invaded. They've never been threatened. And so they say they're defending their interests. The United States is a bankruptcy corporation. It's called the Federal United States Incorporated, and it is a creation of the City of London. It can only occupy the District of Columbia. It only has jurisdiction over District of Columbia. It only has jurisdiction over Uniform Commercial Code, and he has jurisdiction over the District of Columbia. They all only exist in the District of Columbia. There's a guy called Sovereign Living, and he got pulled over by the police in going back to America, and they said that the FBI's written all this shit on your file, and he goes, that's fucking hearsay. You've got a criminal record. That's fucking hearsay. Have you stopped me because I've committed harm, injury, or loss? So it's artificial reasoning. So then he says, well, they've got the authority. So then he pulls out the paperwork, and I've got some here. And this is off his page. It's off Sovereign Living. And he basically shows them that the United States only has jurisdiction over the District of Columbia. It's a bankruptcy administration. So what they did was they sent all their hospitals out, all their minions, their occultists. They created hospitals and come and get birthed here, And a dock, they used to be physicians, but then they changed them to doctors. Dock is where the ship pulls in, and ter is, remember, the ship is the corporation. You know, friendship, partnership, citizenship. G'day, mate, matey, ahoy, mate, ahoy, mate. You're on a ship. And it's, mate is a ship's mate. So the whole system is based on maritime, right? Federal lex mercatoria is invalid over the ground. So that in the Bible it says the waters washed over the land, over the ground, land over the ship and over the land. So they brought the dead onto the maritime, onto the over the ground, over the land, and you know, you think that the land extends down under the water. Well, ships are only measured over the ground. They're not measured over the land. Right? They're not measured over land. You know, the land, that's the land, and you remove the water, and that's more land. No, it's all the ground. So land, ship, it's an overlay of fiction, and it's over your mind. Yeah, as above, so below. So whatever they can get, the spirit, the mind, is they'll reflect it on the body. So mind control is illegal. You know, think about Stockholm syndrome, where you believe the guy who locked that girl in the basement and said they're all bad and they're out to get her, and she had babies in the basement, and they call that a diseased mind, even though he looked after her. And I'm not saying what he was right, but even though he looked after her and he took care of her, and eventually that became her normal. That's what they're doing to you. So government is mind control. So government is control of the mind. De jure government is a contradiction. Obtaining profit by deception, aka mind control. The Bible is admiralty maritime. Jesus walked on the sea. He never drowned in debt. Same word, say it out loud. Sea represents the dead. Debt, dead. Understand is no sea standing, because ter is earth. So der, joined her became joined her. So understand is no sea standing. Der is the sea. Mr. Miss, MISS, MS, and MRS, Mrs. all ranks in the military. They kill with the first book and program at the second book. And when the second book fails, they revert back to the first book. Revelation in the Bible translates to apocalypse. Apocalypse isn't when the world ends. Apocalypse, is actual definition in Greek, is when mankind wakes up, and then that's when they end the world, because world comes from eon, which means time, and civilizations are measured by time. That's why all these civilizations just collapsed, because they're child stealing, the pedophilia. They make everything illegal. Like cannabis is a plant that you're supposed to eat. All the weeds in your garden, you're supposed to eat them, except for the really like some weeds are basically medicines, like wild lettuce. That's an opioid. You can use that like a morphine. It's not addictive. You know, the dandelion, the company that says dandelion's a weed, makes the chemical to kill dandelion, is the same company that makes the heart bypass machine, or the heart medication. It's one, the medication for your heart. So they tell you don't eat it, it's dangerous. You don't eat it, you get sick, and then they give you the drug. Everything's in threes. The definition in threes, the structure's in threes. Now, when I say king as a corporation, just going back, king corporation is a ship stranded on low tide on a sandbar, or it's dragged up on they sail it in top speed onto higher ground when the tide's high, and then draft it there, and then they do the repairs there. So that's a corporation. It's still a ship, but it's a ship without currency. Yeah, there's no current. Cur is a bastard and ENT entities. Yeah, because back in the old days, the current was the rowers, and the nave of the church. Nave is where the rows are, and that's where they would row from. The navy. The nave means no, and V is a vessel. Yeah, because they're saying you don't have a vessel. So when I say a ship is a corporation that's stranded, has no life, when that ship that was no longer seaworthy, because the big difference between being waterproof and seaworthy. Seaworthy means can take massive amounts of pressure and loading. And so what happens is when that ship is no longer seaworthy, they drag it up onto land, turn upside down, remove the floorboards, use them as walls, take the mast out, make them the four posts, and raise the ship up. And then that's why if you look in all the old Irish churches, they're all ships. So a church is a ship because it's a bishop, it's by ship. I've explained to my last channel where they took it down. So what they do is they come in, they invade, they kill, the corporation kill, and then they change the language to debt speak, which is English, and all the European languages, it's all debt speak. That's why they had to get rid of Phoenician, because Phoenician, you knew the meaning of the words. So I was explaining to my brother-in-law, who's, you know, they're all, to me, they all seem touched now. I can't talk to them. But I explained that the meaning of the words, birth, child, parent, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, that's bullshit. And I said, what happened was the guy, Tyndale, the guy who wrote the first dictionary, when he wrote that dictionary, all the definition of the words were in the dictionaries. And so when he wrote the translation, then people will be able to see what they're actually saying. And so they burned him at the stake to make sure no one else would do it. So then what they went through is they went through and they removed all the meanings of the words. Right, so you're birthed. They're not saying birth means abandoned. I'm going to cover that in a sec. So they removed all the meaning of the words, and then they started publishing dictionaries. And especially back then is justices of peace, principals, solicitors, barristers, judges, bards, diplomats. They would all have access to these dictionaries. Now, one of these dictionaries that I got, the New Law Dictionary, if anyone wants a copy, I'll send it to them. The New Law Dictionary cost £70 back in 1793. 1893, 1993, almost 180 years later, 160 years later, my father built a house for £3,300 in Ireland. That's land, the house, the whole lot. So 70, 30, 40 odd sets of books, 45 sets of books would buy you a house. Imagine a house and land, and the house and land he had back on Ireland is much bigger than any of the houses and land you have in Australia. We lived out in the country, big house, billiard room, garage, the whole lot on half-acre block. Now, if you can imagine 45 books being worth $1 million, so basically that's $20,000 a book. 20 into 50, yeah, that's $1 million. Yeah, 20,000 times 50, that's $1 million. So if you can imagine that, I like to say imagine now, because I before am destroyed. Anyway, so if you can imagine a book costing $20,000 in today's money, so the New Law Dictionary sells today. It was £70 back then, but today to buy a copy, it's $1,100 from the US. I can't find any in the UK on Amazon. That's not even delivery, and that's one volume. There's 2 volumes. I don't know why it hasn't gone up in parity, but that's the equivalent. Like back then, you could buy for £70. You know, times that by 50, you get £3,500. You can 50 of these books would buy you a house and land. They weren't meant for us to read, right? So basically, what they've done is they put you in the military, and it's what they call state capture, and it's called civil, not civil emancipation, civil conscription by fraud and deception. So they kill with the first book, program with the second, and the second book doesn't work, they revert back to the first book. Parent means by obligation to abandon, comes from parere, which means means abandon, which comes from parere. Birth means abandoned, from natus venter, from the womb. Child means abandoned, and stillbirth, abortion. So Mary gave birth to Jesus. Mary comes from the Latin mar, which means sea, and ia suffix meaning masculine. So Mary means seaman, and so you can take that 2 ways. But we'll stay with the clean one. If the seaman gave birth and was the parent and gave birth by obligation because he's under a ship's contract, and birth means to abandon, natus venter, from the womb, and the child means abandoned, and a stillbirth. And so the womb, technically in this metaphor, is the ship, because the seaman's on the ship, he's by contract, which is parere, which is gives birth by obligation, birth and child. So if you can see the allegory, the metaphor, the story, and one of these guys, he's gone through, I won't say he's read 2,200, but he reckons he's gone through 2,000. You can skim read. He's gone through 2,200 Bibles, and God means grantor of deed, which means the king or the mayor or a lord, right? Because you got the Lord God in the Bible, but you got the House of Lords, right? So you start to see the pattern. Now, where were we? So we moved on to Seaman gave birth, abandoned the child, the stillbirth, the abortion. They call it placenta, place and centre feed to us. Our all translate to novus, which means noble in English. Right? They say in the Bible, everyone had to go to Herod to register a birth. Register means transfer of powers of attorney and equity. This is in case law. It obtains profit by fraudulent conveyance of language, as there was no informed consent. They capitalise your name, which as they have jurisdiction over corporations, which are ships. It's shipping. The capitalised name is what appears on the ship, and therefore it's a corporation, which means it's a ship, which means Admiralty Maritime. Binding speak, aka debt speak, over ships. Ships are birthed after building, named and christened. They say the mother was a maiden. I'm doing a lot of overlapping here, but they say the mother was a maiden on the birth certificate, making the baby a bastard, and so registering for benefits from the crown, which comes under parens patriae as a parent of the fatherland. So they get the mother to put the maiden name on there, which implies she's a maiden and not married. And they don't have informed consent, what the birth certificate is, and the Sestacable Act is done in another language, which is their fucking application of the implication of the corporatisation registering of the birth. They are sun-worshipping merchants. Sol licitar, barrister, Solomon. Bar means sun, sol means sun, sol means sun, om means sun, and on means sun. Sol is Latin for sun, om is Hindi for sun, and on is Egyptian for sun. Sun, Solomon, Abraham, Jesus all mean 666, which means Saturn, and Messiah, aka Christ, means marked. So Jesus Christ translates numerologically, geometrically through the incarnations of the religions, because you've got the Egyptian Trinity. Joseph said to be Anubis, g'day, and so what happens is the whole son dies for 3 days and is reborn of two mothers. That's actually Egyptian. It goes back to Egypt. And so they change the names, collapse the civilization. This is the new religion. And so that's what the reset is. It's the creating of a new religion, a new state. And this is the WF, World Economic Forum's talking about it. You got Biden, Leonardo DiCaprio turning up. All the actors are part of the bloodline. And you think about half these guys have got buck noses and cauliflower ears. And like that guy Star Wars, the new dark dude, he's Jewish, you know. Most of the cast of Star Wars are Jewish. You can't make this stuff up. So that's a form of discrimination if you want to believe in that subject matter psychosis. I discriminate when I pick what colour shoes I'm going to put on, or socks to put on, or undies to put on, who I speak to or who I don't speak to. It's called having a choice. Discrimination is a right. Right? Racism is where you put your family first. If you put your family first, you're a racist, because that's your race. So that they go, nah, people don't understand the words they use. Ra is the sun, and ist is the practice of. Yeah. The words have meanings in their roots. Jesus Christ translates to Saturn's mark is their money. The mark's the dollar's a dollar. Dollar comes from dollar, which means harm. K means wisdom, so the harm, wisdom. So they're experts at harming you with their wisdom. Scripture says they are lost for lack of knowledge. Right, so Christ cross means the ledger on the moneylender's book. Left side is the debtor, right side is the lender. Left is bad, right is good. In reference to good thief, bad thief. Jesus was crucified on a ship's mast. Right? If that doesn't speak volumes, Jesus was crucified on a ship's mast. metaphorically speaking. There's no evidence of him having a grave or anywhere. And the Romans wouldn't have desecrated a grave, and he had a lot of followers. So, as the story goes, remember he walked on water. Moses means out of the water. Ark of the Covenant means ship's contract. Ark is a ship, yeah, Covenant's contract. And Ark is ship is a Noah's Ark. Covenant is the highest form of contract. I'm reading the sentence before I even read it. One ark means one ship. Get it? Ark. Bible is printed on Admiralty Foursquared. Scripture. King is a corporation. I've said that. Liberty is shipping. A license is liberty granted on paper. Driver is D is a port on a river. I've mentioned this before in an earlier clip. Port on a river. Driver is a port on a river. D is a porthole. D river, as D is a representation of a porthole in Kemetic alphabet. And the first alphabet, roads are lanes, shipping lanes, and land between the lanes are traffic islands. Sewer is connected to the sea, brings the sea up onto the land, the ground. Money is their jurisdiction, as the king sits on the bench, meaning bank. Bench, CH is K, CH Christ, BENCH is BENK. E-A-I. Oh, and you're interchangeable, so B-E-N-K or B-E-N-C-H, B-E-N-K is B-A-N-K phonetically. Now, if you remove the vowels in Hebrew, for example, they remove the vowels. So B-N-C-H, C-H is pronounced K, so B-A-N-K, remove the A, it's the same pronunciation. Supreme and High Courts are the Banco Courts, Italian and Roman for bench, meaning the moneylender's table, meaning bank. But what happens in the Renaissance period, the Pope, the head moneylender, gave the Jews in the ghetto permission to open a bench, and they would lend money from the bench, and the Christians would come in and borrow money, and that's what funded the Renaissance period. So basically, the name is an entry on a debt ledger. It's not evidence of a man, but a debt accrued by use of money. There is no money, and the registration, I should say. There is no money, only debt. It's not a $50 note, it's a $50 bill, and bill is a debt. A debt is sin, and accusive, and sin is accusive, Council on Uniform Securities Identification Procedure, and they are called sins. I mentioned that. I'm overlapping here. It's eight numbers and one letter, which is what's on your criminal charge, your charge, your court paperwork. The ASX Security Exchange is an anagram of SAX. X is Roman numerals for 10, so SA10, say it fast, Satan. Is your adversary in Hebrew, so Satan doesn't exist. Satan just means adversary. In Roman numerals, Sa is their Egyptian god in the alphabet, and is Egyptian. Satan, homophone, Satan, I just went for that. Satan means adversary, I just went for that. Security Exchange competes with you on the market and pushes up prices, forcing you to get into more sin, debt, mammon. For more information, please send gold. I just got it written down, sorry. Please, what can you see? P is to speak, and L-E-A-S. So when you say please, you're asking someone to enter into a contract with you. Where was I? Binding, speak, res means slave and chattel. Res in Hebrew, it means slave in Hebrew and chattel in Latin. So res, I-D-E-N-T, res, identifying entity, is a slave. Yeah, city, C-I, C-E, C-E, S-E-A, S-E-A, mark, C-I-T-Y is C mark people. Yes, T is the mark and Y is the essence of. All right. Parish, Paris house, Parliament is two ships representing two trading houses coming to terms at sea. So the two trading houses are Labour and Liberal because they own the High Court. The letter J was written 1441 to allow for the ink bleeding from the head to the body in the letter in the lowercase as it would look like an L. So there's the I and it would bleed, look like an L, so they put a tail on. And make reading, so it would making hard. Yeshua in Hebrew translates to IESVS in all capital letters, which is a corporation. You can find that in the first church built in the 1st century in Glastonbury in England, and the church is burnt down, but they've still got a stone there, and it says IESVS in all capitals. They went to the U because the V will cause a resonant frequency, would travel down the and create a weak point in the stone. I mean, people say just the carving would cause the crack. Well, what causes it to crack when it wasn't cracked, when it was just carved? Because everything has a frequency. The ground has a frequency. The earth has a frequency. Apparently, the earth has the same frequency as our heart. And the waveform is said to be the same dimension as this dimension, 27,000 miles in a flat line. I've just seen that in another clip. So IESVS in Latin, which is written as Jesus in English. It's interesting that they write Jesus in IESVS, so that's a corporation. There is no U in Latin. U is lowercase v, and they adopted the U to stop the stone cracking. I'll mention that. A, E, I, O, and U are all interchangeable. And Y, police, policy, and languages. Go down and confound their speech. How do you do that? I just showed you. Lexicography means dictionary maker. Lex means the law. I is the mind. Co means to, and graph. Yeah, because when you read it, you're contracting. You're believing. You're allowing it to manifest in your mind, and then that's the program. The words make the law. How do you go down and change the law? You change the word. That's why the dictionaries they've all been altered. If you read a dictionary now, I posted it here. I should have grabbed it, but on Samuel Johnson's dictionary in the cover page, it says words originating from their source. Meanings of the words originating from their source. That's a dictionary. All the dictionaries that have been there's a Webster's dictionary or Collins dictionary. I think it's Webster's. And she's a lexicographer, and she said, this is the meaning of the word as is used today in society. Fuck. So you got precision, manisual, and fucking all this, gobbledygook, and that's supposed to be, it's not. They're just dumbing down the people. A quick tidbit. No, I should read this. Okay, so all my references, Samuel Johnson's dictionary, Hebrew meanings, Latin meanings, Old French, English translator, Collins Unabridged Dictionary, New Law Dictionary, Leviathan on Metaphor and Power. I've also got books that go back. I've got books on heraldry and stuff, and it's just nonsense. They just don't write in the books what things are. And if you go to Encyclopedia Britannica, I'm not sure if you find this word, but langue, you might find it in Wikipedia. But langue is language within a language that must never be given parole, but parole means to speak. Must never be given parole, but must be spoken to be taught. And so that's the true meaning of the word inside the word. So once you learn the parole, which I'm doing, you don't need a dictionary anymore. It's just like a doctor looking at the roots, prefixes, suffixes to know what the thing is. So they'll, there's Gregory Miles. He teaches Latin on YouTube. He's a doctor, so he created these clips, the content, before he became a doctor, so he could learn the meaning of the medical terms without actually having to go and look up the meaning of the word. It's straight to the point. So that will give you an idea. I've got another. I had some really good stuff, but so I'll give you an idea of the New Testament. So Matthew 5:44. So chapter 5, verse 44, essentially says, "Love thy enemy." Luke 14, chapter 14, verse 26 to 27 says, "Hate your father, hate your mother, hate your child, hate your family, right? And love God." Now we know that God is the King, grantor of deed. Good stuff, right? So it's the paperwork, and the four corners of the earth. Again, I've said this before, and so you can get a grasp of the level of malevolent when the Queen signed her coronation. She didn't sign at the bottom line, right? She signed at the top, which basically means she's not a defender of the faith. She basically is a traitor. She signed in all sincerity, not sincerely, but in all sincerity. And by signing the top means she can't give royal assent to the Governor General to sign off on any laws that are passed. It's not me saying it, it's just a process. The bill is a debt. The act is for actors, which is for persons, which is a character, which comes from, and the last for identity, which comes from estate.As, which comes from facere, and facere means to make, and facere is rooted in face because you take the last two letters, I think, of the word face, which is fiction. So they want you to identify and go, well, here's my face. That's my identity. But you're looking for the identity, the fiction, that's a name in the name is comes from nomen, which is an entry in a debt ledger. So if I go back to my page here just quick, and I'll just scroll down, I'll just read a couple of bits that I've got on my page. Oh, I'm disconnected because I'm doing a clip. Sorry, can't do it. So that's basically it. This is a quick one. The main reason why I read this clip up, because I covered everything. I wrote it down. I like writing comments on Facebook. But what I did was I brought in the Mary dynamic now. So M-U-T-H-E-R, M-U-D-E-R, M-U-R-D-E-R. So the mother, Murther, was Mary, which was a seaman, was the parent by obligation, gave birth. So he's part of the body of the ship, gave birth, which means abandon natus venter. And then you've got the child, which means abandoned. So every word that's used, and so they're all negative states. And so now, then you go back to the last one, father, and then it was, the Bible says call no man father, because patri means male, and patriarch means male ship, which is the king, and matriarch, which is a female ship, ark is a ship, is the queen, the admiralty. So now you've got don't use this one. I'm telling you don't use this one. Now you've got to know don't use these. So that what the queen is her what they call, what you believe is Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. Her is feminine, so that's maritime. Majesty, mage is great. Her Majesty Queen is a corporation, and Elizabeth. The name of the corporation is Elizabeth. Right? The name of the corporation is Elizabeth. Right? That's not her name. Now, you're probably thinking, John Wayne used to say, I go by a name, because the name is used in commerce because it's an entry in a debt ledger. He's telling you. I listen to when people say stuff that doesn't, it sounds, what's the structure of that word? I was like, I just log it away. He's just, just a welder, blah, blah. Engineers, I'd confound them. Right? I'll give you an idea of how programmed stupidity people are. And I'll end with this. There was two beams in a hotel in the bottom side of the cross. So the cross up's here and then turns into Woolloomooloo. So this is a hotel in Woolloomooloo. They had an RSJ and it's an I-beam, right? And it was a 700 high or 900 high, something like that. It's waist high. And RSJs are shaped like this. They taper down. All the modern beams are I-beams like this, and they don't taper. So they're about the flanges were about 20 mil. And they went on the RSJ went from 20 mil down to 32. And so you've got this tapered beam like that. And then what you've got to do is you over that over the tapered distance, you've got to taper it back to its parallel, and then whatever that distance was, you've got to continue it for that distance again. So you've got to go from this down to that, so it's parallel, and then continue it for the same distance as a reduction. And then you can butt weld it to another I-beam. But the problem was, when you tapered it down and continued it, you weaken the beam by 50%. So now you've got a beam that's only just coping. They want to put another beam on there and weld it. That's a modern beam that's 2.5 times stronger. And then you weaken this beam by 50%. And so they had two engineers, the civil engineer for the corporation that was running the site manager, and all the foremen. And so I was called in there as a certified pressure welder, because to butt weld two beams with no gussets, no plates, no support, you've got to have be able to pass an ultrasonic weld, which is harder than X-ray. So what happened was, I said to the engineer, you can't do it. And he goes, yeah, you can. I said, no, you can't. There's no standard to weld that to that without losing load carrying capacity for that beam. And so I used to write letters and emails to the WTIAs complaining about all the things I'd encountered a week, and they asked me and said, look, you know what you're talking about. You know our job backwards. Come and do a 3-week course and we'll qualify you as a welding engineer. So, because you read all the specs of the welds, you read all the specs and then you do all your own connection details, and you just copy what's known, and then you work out the loads and convert MPa to PSI to inches per square, the kilos per length. You can work it out. And so what it was, you got these two engineers, the site manager, the head foreman, all his foremen, and the civil engineer. And I'm telling them, you can't join this beam without. And he goes, well, how do we do it? I said, just put 2 plates on it. So if you got a beam that's, say there's a cut here, and that's that line there, that's one beam, that's the other beam. They're the same height, but they have a different. When you look at the ends, they're a different profile. And you put a plate on there. And then the engineer said, well, if you put a plate on there, that's not strong enough. That plate with bolted connections won't take the shear load. And I said, make it bigger. And then run a gusset up to it. And then on the side, when it's like this, because the beam's out like this, on the faceplate, run diagonal plates out. And then the civil engineer is sort of standing there, and the site manager, who's the chippy, the builder, he turned to the 2 engineers and goes, will that work? And then they sort of looked at each other, and they sort of they didn't want to admit it, but yeah, they were there for 4 hours, and they charged $300 an hour. So that's $1,200. That was $2,400, and they couldn't come up with a fucking solution, because they didn't want to have a beam in the middle of the foyer of this hotel they were refurbishing, and it was 22 stories above. And so what happened was, he said, when can you start? I said, I'm not doing it. And he said, why is that? Because I couldn't get parking out the front. I've already talked to you about parking and everything else. Your priority is in getting this beam done, because if I fuck this weld up, and it was off the ground, so it means doing it on scaffolding and grinding and everything else. On the ground, it's a hard job. It's about a 3 or 4 day job. And then you've got to get it ultrasonic x-rayed, and if there's any imperfections, I've never had a perfection, but imperfection. So what would happen was, they said, you want to do the job? And I said, no. And he goes, why not? Because your priority is not getting this weld done properly in a timely manner, so I can sleep for the rest of my life and not think about the weld that when you're doing the work. Because this is how their programming works. If we get rid of insurance, things will be done right. Buildings won't fall. If we get rid of insurance, people will drive right, travel right. Insurance should only be for truck drivers, right? What happened was, the Builders Association, and a lot of people are just, they're triggering, right? The Builders Association in New South Wales, what they had was, they put money into a trust, and you put a certain amount of money in, and then you never had to contribute ever again. And if you started making claims, well, then they start saying, well, you've got to contribute a bit more, because you're making these claims, you're depleting the fund, and you're not doing a very good job. Or if you were bad enough, they just turf you. Or if you just kept building shoddy buildings and they were having to pay out, they turf you, and then you couldn't get insurance, which is the way insurance works anyway. So the state government comes in, and they seized, because it's all corporation, they seized the trust, and then took it and said, this is now work cover, right? And you had to get your workers' comp and everything else, and then you just end up paying money continually to these corporations, which they own, which they tax, but there was no tax for so the whole system is designed to deplete you. They've always got jurisdiction, because juris comes from eos, which means to bind. And I'm doing it right now. I'm using binding speech. Think of the word the, right? Mark the helix in the energy of man. So in French means telement. Force the eye. S is the force, the tusks, and O is the eye. Every aspect of language is created from the alphabet, and so you get a lot of people who they've studied their degree, but you ask them a question outside it. Like I've got two family members. One's got a double degree in mechanical engineering, and the other one just finished a degree in mechanical engineering. We're pretty cluey, the old Gavins. But you ask them a question outside of it, and they can't come at. If someone asks me a question I didn't know, I go and look it up and come back and go, I worked it out. It was this. You know, they're not even taught. And some people might say, well, that's a bit of ego. You know, you don't like not knowing. Well, it was a good question. You know, it intrigues me. So they're not taught to think. You know, like I'm trying to explain to my sister that you can't read. I'm learning to read. I don't know how to read yet. I'll be honest. I don't. I'm learning this stuff. And so it's the structure of the language within the language. And so even LANG, shepherd, alpha, snake, return, the vessel in the energy of man. A lot of what's going on, go and look up the World Economic Forum, the WEF, all your leaders are signatories to it. They're all Freemasons. It's all a Talmudic system. It's maritime law. And you've got the word lex mercatoria means law merchant, which is federal lex mercatoria, which means all federal case law is merchant law. And so even if you're engaged in business, I hate using the word business because it's buying sins, even if you're going about running a business to feed yourself, you're working, it's not commerce, because mer means maritime, means the sea, right? Immerse, submer, mer is the sea. So you've got trade now. Lex mercatoria translates as commerce, as a merchant, as trade. But that's sea trade. It's not land. It's not land trade. I know you got the sea, you got land, and then you got the ground. It's not land, and it's not fucking. It's not ground based trade. Now, I'll leave it here, but I'm going to do another clip on scripture. But if you get a chance, look up now. Thomas Jefferson wrote in a letter that I stand here on this ground, and the earth shall be. I can't remember the passage. I always remember it when I'm not doing a clip. The earth shall be held in trust for the living, and the dead have no claim to it, and any rights they had over the earth shall cease to exist as they cease to exist. So now if you go back to I've got good recall. Just whenever I do a clip, I was thinking about what to put in the clip. You know, this is just me punching some stuff out and doing some stuff. Now, in here, it talks about artificial reasoning. In here, it talks about, it references the Christian Commonwealth. Now, Christianity was created by Romanism. People will say, oh, no, it's the followers of Jesus Christ. Well, Jesus Christ is a metaphor. It's an allegory. You know, he says the person in here, because it's fiction, this is the face. Right, this is the spirit of the fiction. This is its identity. This is its direction. It's mens rea. It's all in here. This guy was a nobody until he wrote this book, and all he did was he looked at the. If you get on YouTube, type in Admiralty law, and there's a guy standing, an old grey-haired fella, and he's on a beach in Hawaii, and he explains that the Corpus Juris by Justinian wasn't Justinian's creation. He took it from, I can't remember the other system. I'm going to watch the clip again. I've got heaps of stuff to watch. But he took it from another system of merchant law. And so he actually explains how the courts are operating under merchant law. So I'll put this clip up. If you stay this long, and hopefully the sound is good, it's still there. Basically, click on the link, and there's a clip in the description. It'll be Karen Hudis telling you that all courts are operating under Admiralty Maritime Law. It's basically under state capture, which is a form of slavery. The magistrate is a slave trader. The name in their register is identity of the fraud, So basically, I'm going to do some clips on finance and debt validation, and I'm going to put up some examples. But I want to do some stuff first. and then you'll have a better idea what's going on. So that's basically what's going on with the Lex. And if you get a chance, this is why
particular streets.
You can get Leviathan or the Matter, Form and Power, or type in Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes. It's done by
And of actions.
It's done by LibriVox audiobooks, and you just put on the subtitles, annotation, and basically you can see the text. So if you want to pause it, set a rewind, you can see the text still up, and you just copy it. But there's a guy called Victor Schauberger.
The T, you get a D.
Victor Schauberger. Victor Schauberger. Now, he explains that water has memory, water has life, water is energized, and you can bruise the water, damage its atomic structure. Even if it's clean, you can still damage it. They revitalize the water. And there's some clips getting around on Facebook where this guy, he's doing a lecture. I've got to find the actual clip because I download them all now and store them. But what he does is, I'll give you an example. There was a documentary called Ground Zero about September 11. The buildings, the detonation of the building, the fire chief deputy said he's the one who approves a pulling of a building. He didn't give it. He had to keep his mouth closed until he got his pension before he could speak. Otherwise, his wife wouldn't get a pension if he went missing. This is what's going on. Frank Lowy here in Australia was a partner to Lowenstein, who the Twin Towers came down. All the gold missing out of the bank, 300 tons of gold missing out of the bank. A semi-trailer with the gold still sitting on one of the trucks. All the trucks were shipped to a foreign country. A truck driver pulled over. They load-jacked all the trailers. So when he pulled over have a half-hour nap because they were doing like long shifts, he got sacked. And that's how we found out they were tracking the trailer, so no one took any steel out. There's a red agent that they use in military thermite, which is it burns so fast it's considered it's basically considered an explosive. They put a red marker in there so they know when it's the military, it's been used, and all this kind of fucking shit that's going on. There literally are, the Jews are literally corporation kill. The merchants, they're out to murder everyone. Now, a lot of people who might have signed on and everything else, you got to look at it this way. When everyone's gone and it's just them and you, what's going to happen? You think they're going to tolerate you? This is the system. All the doctors that are signed on, when they reduce the world population by 50%, what are you going to do for work? You become an accessory. My sister went to a dentist, and after she's seen the dentist walked out on the street, and she says, "Don't worry, as long as you don't harm anyone, they can't do anything." So, you've got a psychiatrist that fucking had no fucking soul, did everything in my power not to climb across the bench and just smash her before the guard could come to the door. Because if I had done that, they would have drugged me harder. Right? It's counterproductive to fucking getting out and doing what I'm doing. And she said, you don't have to be mentally ill. I said, I'm not mentally ill, and I referenced everything. I said, you don't have to be mentally ill to fucking to be in here. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, if you're a danger to a society. Well, society is based on privilege, which is a fucking moneylender system, which is association of persons. So they're basically drugging and killing people to fucking knock people off for the state, which is a Roman civitas, which is a fucking Leviathan. It's a cult. It is a cult. Freemasonry created the state. It's a slave trading house because they have penalties. It's a penal colony, right? The evolution out of that is the same, different words, but the same outcome. They took away your guns. Now, Martin Bryant couldn't turn two opposing locks, so how did he pull a trigger, flick it to instant, and turn the safety off, and cock it, and load a magazine? People might think a gun's fairly simple. If I hand you an automatic weapon and say fire it within 2 seconds, they're going to fuck around. Unless they know what they're doing, they're not going to fire it. It'll take them about 10, 15 seconds, a minute, whatever. This guy's supposed to have done double taps in people's fucking heads. And you got the Premier of Tasmania saying, we need a massacre in Tasmania before we can get control of this country. right? Freemasonry is Talmudic Judaism, right? I know a guy. His brother's a Freemason. He's going for his 33rd degree or 35th degree, 34th degree, whatever is the highest in his thing. And he basically won't take the vaccine, got a fake vaccine passport. And even some of these Freemasons, and there's another clip of this other guy, and he says he's a 97th degree Freemason, and he used to use his spirit guide. He was just guiding him through how to read and how to interpret stuff, and effectively the bottom of the pile isn't what the top of the pile is doing, and they call them elites. They're just Satanists. They're always taught. They're taught everything from the get go. They're taught everything from the get go, and by the time they get to their 10s and 20s, it's like they're exponentially higher than someone who's been doing Freemasonry for 15 years or something. So you've got a system where, coppers who are awake. There's a copper on. He worked for Penrith apparently, Della Costa, and he committed suicide because they wouldn't let him be a copper without being vaccinated. His missus wouldn't get vaccinated, so he walks in front of a truck on the Central Coast. For me, that's like a pedophile committing suicide, because police defather, the courts defather. The same thing's going on all around the world. Like Greg Hallett literally shows statistically, and he doesn't know about the proclamation certificates and everything else, but he shows that the district court funded the family law court to get it going, and then what happened was then the family law court ended up funding the district court because 90% of criminals are single parents. And then he goes on to say that 92% of all domestic violence or predatory pedophilia is done by the new alpha that the mother gets when she gets sick of her old alpha. And because women when they get you, they change you to how they want, and you've got to fucking not. They socially engineer you through fucking. If you say anything they don't want, they just fucking they go crazy. And so what happens is they change you, and then they look back and they go, "Where's the man I married? I've been doing everything you told me to say, and now you're fucking saying you don't want it." So then that breaks up, and they all say, this is how I was making some comments on Facebook, and this woman basically said, "Oh, you obviously hate women. You got a small cock." And I said, "Well, I've never had it." I'm going to talk about my bits, my business, but I said I've never had any woman ever say it to me in love or hate, depending on the situation. And my comment was back, well, the one thing that gets bigger is a woman's mouth and her, they've always got this, and you can't say that to a woman because fucking she can say it to you, but if you say it back, they'll fucking hate you for life. One's a fact, and one's the truth. And so you've got this paradigm where the women used to have to go in another room and didn't speak because the men had to make decisions that control the whole fucking family because they made all the finances. And so now the state comes in and gives the money to the women, and women devalue the man. And that's how superficial women are. They don't realise that the man will protect them. The man will take a fucking bullet for them. Right? And then they believe this shit. Oh, a gun actually scares them. Well, there's a sharp knife in the cupboard fucking scare you because you've got to turn the gun and pull the trigger, and you've got to turn the knife and push it. The whole fucking, it's a fucking psychosis. And, they've de-engineered Australia. We were building rotary engines in 1988 that were faster than the 911 Porsches, the fastest 911 Porsche. We made clockwork gearboxes that when you hit the brakes, it engaged the clock spring gearbox, and it would load up several, like having several clutches. I don't know why we have friction plates in gearboxes. Should be small clutch, bigger clutch. And because a torque converter, because a torque converter converts loss of energy into increase in torque. And so this guy built a gearbox that basically loaded up, and then when you hit the accelerator, it disengaged the brake, and then the springs unwound, and you had no loss. So when you slow down, you speed up, you get the extra fuel consumption and brake wear. There was no brake wear and there was no fuel consumption, and your fuel economy was the same as if you never slowed down and sped up, as if you're on the freeway going through town. So they've dumbed this. They've dumbed down the population. They're fucking poisoned. They put lithium in the water. Lithium fucking destroyed me. It just fucked up my bowel, my gut. I felt like I was dying. That we know pharmakeia means poison. We know that the definition of legal, safe in legal terms, in Black's law, in case law, is after exposure. Once been exposed, there's no side effects. And so we know that the chlorpixol, olanzapine, the vaccines, they're all poison. I mean, if polio can be cured with vitamin C and hepatitis C can be cured with mass hepatitis, vitamin C, bone marrow cancer, New Zealand copper cures cancer. All of this stuff that's going on, right? You need to get the word out, fucking how to cure cancer. This is what's going on. It's corporation kill. They're literally killing everyone off, right? And even when I spoke to that Sapper Hart who's operating out of Victoria Barracks and staying at the Hilton Hotel, this is his words. I've got first-hand knowledge that that's what he said. You can say it's hearsay, but it's him telling me what he does. I've seen his Reggie docs and everything. He said to me, we were just talking, having a beer, and it was a program. He was going through a program because they get trained how to steer a conversation, and I can see it like fucking. It's just like fucking flashing lights. And he basically said, I never knew my father because I was staying. I'm just doing this shit to get my kids back and my family back. And he said, I grew up not knowing my father. I asked him, he said, she wouldn't tell him and all this kind of stuff. I said, mate, I'd fucking hold it down and make her fucking tell you. You're a fucking soldier. You got a right to know. And some people go, look at him, what he's saying. And but I'm having a conversation. I'm just talking back, having a dialogue. But effectively, he's trying to create a conditioning in my mind for me to accept not being around to train my son and my daughter. Because that's how they operate. That's how they win, right? So just think about this, right? Nietzsche said, "Love everyone and follow no one." And that if you look up Nietzsche and Freud, you'll read books and go on for days. But effectively, that's the mens rea: love everyone and listen to no one. So just dance around in circles out in the fucking paddock, right? And the amount of fucking handlers I've had say, study astrology and come up. I had this one crazy bitch turn around and go, come over to Perth, I've got a men's shed, my partner died, I need a man in my life, you're the sort of bloke that, and all this kind of shit. Never met this woman before in my life. Just fucking go to Perth and you get tapped, right? I had only a few people ask me to come over to Perth. And so, especially with my last channel, I deleted like 500 friends who they're all fucking handlers. They just stank on Facebook. And I know I've got fucking people in my friends list at the moment who are handlers and coppers and everything else. But effectively what I'm trying to say is, I said, why would I want to go to fucking Perth? She goes, I've got a men's shed and everything. I go, so you just told me you ragged on your man and he couldn't handle it, so he committed suicide before he went home. So you want me to go there so you can rag on me so I can commit suicide and fucking, you know what I mean? Like the fucking stupidity of the fucking programming. The hardest thing is a lot of people adhere to the programming because they don't know how to function outside of it. They don't want to fucking. So like my brother, he's taken the jab and he basically said he had an outbreak of COVID and almost fucking died. He's loading his body up with graphene oxide and he is going to die. I hate to say it. I hope he lives a long life and I hope I live longer than him because I'm younger than him. But that's the outcome. It's corporation kill. They're poisoning everyone. They program you to identify as or to follow a program, but then that program is saying kill me, harm me, I'm slave, mark me, tax me, mark me, tax me, harm me, and so that's the dialogue. So they've got us doing everything backwards. That's why, when I pick a book up, I go like this, from back to front. My father was left-handed, right? Why do I look at a book from back to front? Because, if you write from right to left, that would be the natural way to do it. But now we look I can't even do it with my left hand, my right hand. Anyway, so that's the clip. Matthew says, and this is the Nietzsche ethos, Matthew says, love thy enemy. And Luke says, hate your mum, hate your father, hate your kids, and love God. So God is the king. There's Roy, R-O-Y, un Roy, un Foy, Loy. Roy means king in Old French, right? And Royal means God Almighty. So Freud said, hate everyone and you want to fuck your mum. And it's a long clip, but I'll say this if you're still around. Here we go on, fucking hell. My niece seen a painting on the wall, and it was one of those squiggly paintings where you poke a hole in the tin and swing it across in all the different colours. And it was worth 350 million US. 3 6 is 18, so at 18 plus 30 is it's worth 510 million Aussie dollars, roughly. So I say 500, but we'll round it down to 4 because 4 is an easy number. At the time, you could have bought a house in Harrington Park for 250,000, small house. So for $1 million, you could buy 4 houses, and for 400 million, you could buy 1,600 houses. So I said, so you're telling me you'll swap that painting for 1,600 houses that you can rent out at 10% of the value of the house per year. So basically, you'll make 40 million over 10 years. That's 400 million. So every 10 years, you'll have another 1,600 homes, and plus that's only just the amount. Then you've got the compounded interest. Then you've got the increase in value, and the compounded interest will marry up with the increase in value, so you can buy another 1,600 homes. And I said, the painting, you've got to insure it, you've got to house it, you might be able to rent it out to a few showings. If the economy goes down and house values drop by 10%, the value of the painting might drop to 200 million. So you've got half your equity. But you're still getting the rent, and after another 10 years, you can buy another 1,600 homes, plus the compound interest, plus the rent. You probably put a town in there and everything. And so you're always going to get the rent, you're always going to have the asset, you can always sell them, parts of them. I said, you're telling me you're willing to swap a painting after 30 years for $400 million with 48 fucking homes. You swap 4,800 homes for a painting that may be worth $400 million or 500 or even 600 million, when these homes, you can rent them out, you're guaranteed value. And I said, that is how fucking stupid you are. That's how programmed you are. And at this stage, my sister turned around and goes, Joe, stop, don't talk like that. I said, I'm her uncle. I've got a duty to fucking set her straight. And she goes, I'm a mother. I said, well, you're not doing a very good job. Right, that causes tension. How can you say something like that? So then she comes back with me and quotes Nietzsche and Freud. And I said, Nietzsche went mad and ended up talking to his horse. And Freud and Einstein are on record as saying that, because they were Jews, and they're on record as saying a woman came up to Freud and said, what will it be if I marry a Gentile? And Freud said, it'll be as though your offspring have the rank of a dog in our society. Right? So I've got a blue-eyed Celtic Indian woman quoting someone who hates her guts and another guy who's a mental retard, and they're promoted and propagated, because the only people who get promoted and propagated are Freemasons, right? Now, you've got to wonder who their God is, because if you watch the clip, it's called Jesus equals Saturn. Abraham is a parallel of Remphan. And then people go, oh my God, Remphan's the horns. But then when you go back to the Bibles, Michelangelo painted a picture of Moses. And Moses, if you go to images on Google, you'll see he's got horns. And then Crown Temple, crown comes from the Hebrew word karen, which means horns. You go back to the Crown of England and all the other crowns, and they've got horns on them. And so the effectively, you can only hold and control land if you stand on it. You've got religion, you've got custom, law, and you're spiritually connected to the land. So what they did was they come in and they change the language. They get you to identify as their property, and then what they do is they say, I'm that person's personal representative. So it's artificial reasoning, it's artificial colour of law, and it's based on genocide and murder. And so that's how they took care of the tribes. That's how they took care of their Celtic tribes. They programmed them with the Bible, because it is magic. Spelling, spell and linguistics is spells. It's based on magic. So that's it. Bit of a rant. I just wanted to get this bit out where I talked about Mary. I mean, it was only supposed to be a 5-10 minute clip, but you know, people with mental disorders can't help talking. So that's the clip. Just feels weird. I'm looking at the screen over here, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.